Neo and Jiho Part 3. Remember to subscribe and tap the notification bell not to miss any part. What life lesson did you learn from Part 2? The morning air inside the villa was perfumed with something different, something delicate. Steam drifted softly from the polished countertops in the kitchen. The maids bustled in hushed excitement, glancing at one another with expressions that ranged from curiosity to confusion. One of them leaned in to whisper to the head maid. He asked for congee with abalone, steamed buns, honey ginger tea, fresh fruit, even French pastries. What kind of breakfast is this? The older maid furrowed her brow. And mandu with black vinegar on the side? That's not even on our usual morning rotation. That girl from yesterday? Their voices quieted immediately when Jiho stepped into the room. He didn't raise his voice, didn't carry any air of entitlement. But when Kang Jiho entered a room, even the shadows seemed to pause and take notice. His tone was steady but clear. "Before you take the trays to the dining hall," he said, folding his sleeves at the wrist, "there's something I want to make very clear." The maid straightened. "The guest upstairs, Miss Neo, she is to be respected. If she asks for anything at all, I want her attended to immediately." The youngest maid blinked. Jiho met her gaze directly. "Understood?" "Yes, sir," they echoed. He paused, his expression unreadable, then added, "And one more thing. Speak kindly around her. Words carry weight, especially when someone's heart is healing." The maids nodded. Then Jiho left them, disappearing into the hallway that led to the east-facing dining room, the one with tall glass doors that overlooked the misty gardens. Neo stood before the tall mirror in the guest room, fingers nervously smoothing the soft fabric of the pink floral wrap dress she had changed into. It wasn't her usual style, light, delicate, and feminine, with tiny blossoms scattered across the fabric and a bow tied softly at the waist. The skirt flared gently, brushing just above her knees. She'd found it hanging quietly beside the wardrobe, likely left for her by one of the villa's quiet maids. It smelled faintly of lavender. Her braids, now dry from the shower, were tied into a soft bun, with a few strands falling loosely around her temples. Her hands paused at her sides as she caught her reflection. She looked different. This wasn't the girl from the airport anymore, and yet she still wasn't sure who she was becoming. The mirror offered no answers, only questions. Her phone buzzed softly on the side table. She picked it up and read the message from her sister. "Be calm. Be open. Be present. You're worth it." Her chest tightened slightly. Neo set the phone down and turned toward the bed. Slowly, she knelt beside it. The carpet felt soft beneath her knees. She clasped her hands tightly and closed her eyes. "God," she whispered, "guide my feet, my hands, my heart. Give me strength to be in safe hands. I'm far from home, but you've never left me." A quiet moment passed, the kind only silence can hold. Then Neo rose, smoothed her dress once more, and opened the door. She stepped out into the hallway, her footsteps quiet against the polished floor. The dining room was softly lit by the pale gold of morning sun. Warm light filtered through sheer curtains, casting the long wooden table in a glow that looked almost sacred. At the head of the table sat Jiho, no suit jacket this time, just a clean white shirt, crisp and open at the collar, his sleeves rolled neatly to his elbows. He glanced up when she entered, and for a moment, just a moment, the air between them shifted. Neo hesitated. He stood immediately. "Good morning," Jiho said gently. "Good morning," she replied, her voice soft, unsure. He gestured to the seat across from him. "Please sit. I hope you slept well?" She nodded, sitting slowly. "Yes, thank you, very well." She tried not to fidget, but her fingers danced nervously with the napkin on her lap. She could feel his gaze, not heavy, not invasive, just there. Two maids entered then, rolling in covered trays. They began lifting the silver domes to reveal a breathtaking spread. Steaming congee delicately garnished with green onions and sesame oil. Lightly browned steamed buns. Freshly sliced mango, kiwi, and dragon fruit arranged in a spiral. Warm croissant, pain au chocolat, and honey-dipped tarts. A porcelain teapot set in the center, steam curling from its spout. Neo stared at the table, wide-eyed. This is too much. Jiho smiled faintly, unfolding his napkin. It's not. You've had a hard start to your journey. A proper meal is the least I can do. Her heart tumbled against her ribs. She picked up her spoon quietly, and as she sipped the congee, warmth flooded her chest, not just from the broth, but from something deeper, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Care. Jiho took a sip of tea and watched her over the rim of his cup. Her head was bowed slightly, lashes low, her fingers careful with the spoon. But every now and then, her eyes would flicker up, and each time they met his, she'd quickly look back down, flustered. He found himself smiling. There was a softness to Neo that fascinated Jiho. A strength, too, but not the aggressive kind. It was quiet, resilient, like bamboo in the wind. He found himself noticing every detail. The way her collarbone rose with every nervous breath. The way her fingers brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. The way her eyes, even when unsure, held depth and clarity and something almost holy. And Neo could barely breathe when their eyes met. Her sister's words echoed in her head. He likes you. He sees something in you. She wasn't used to this. Not attention. Not this type of gaze. Most men looked through her, or past her. But Jiho looked at her, and not her body, not her clothes. He looked at her the way morning looks at the sea, soft, wide, seeing everything. She lifted the honey-glazed tart, unsure how to eat something so delicate. Jiho chuckled gently. Just bite it, no ceremony required. Neo laughed softly, and the sound surprised them both. It lit the room in a different way. Jiho leaned back slightly, that rare, easy smile still resting on his lips. He set his cup down slowly. Did you think about it? He asked, voice calm. Neo looked up, then gave a small, deliberate nod. Her voice followed, quiet but sure. Yes, she said. I'll go with you to the engagement. But his eyes softened, as if something he'd been carrying deep inside finally loosened. A thread of relief, of quiet gratitude, passed between them like a current. He didn't celebrate. He simply held her gaze and nodded. Thank you very much, Neo. I'm delighted you're here. Neo lowered her gaze for a moment, then lifted it again, her lips pressing into a small smile. I don't have the clothes for that kind of event, she admitted. And my style? It's simple, but I want to help, even if it's just for a day. Jiho reached to the sideboard, retrieved a small white envelope, and slid it toward her. Inside were details, the stylist's name, an appointment time, a small card with elegant handwriting, and a prepaid voucher tucked neatly behind it. Everything you need is in there, he said. The stylist will come this afternoon. Just something that helps you feel like yourself, only more polished. Neo glanced at the envelope, then at him. Her eyes were glossy, but she blinked them clear. She didn't question his generosity anymore. Instead, she placed her hand over the envelope, holding it gently, like it carried more than just details, like it carried the beginning of something she hadn't expected. Her voice was low, earnest. I don't know how to thank you, Jiho. He smiled then, not wide, but warm, the kind of smile that steadied the moment. A moment of silence settled between them. Not awkward, but peaceful. Then Jiho tilted his head slightly, curiosity flickering. Can I ask something? Neo nodded. What were you doing back in Botswana before all of this? A small laugh escaped her lips, soft and almost surprised by the question. I studied industrial design, she said. I loved it, especially architectural spaces and products that blend art and function. I was always sketching as a kid. Buildings, furniture, public spaces. That was my world. Jiho leaned forward slightly, interested. But I didn't get to do that kind of work, Neo added, her voice gentler now. After graduation, I couldn't find a job in that field, so I worked as an office administrator in a firm. He could see the flicker in her expression, a mix of longing and acceptance. Jiho didn't interrupt. He simply listened. Jiho nodded, absorbing each word. Then he asked, How long is your visa for? She hesitated, then replied, 3 weeks. A quiet pause followed. Would it be all right if I helped extend it? He asked gently. Neo blinked. Extend it? He reached for his phone and tapped something quickly, then looked back at her. I can offer you a contract. Job. Flexible. It doesn't have to be anything formal yet. Just enough to change your visa status, from visitor to work visa. She was still processing when he added, a 5-year term. It gives you breathing space, time to decide. Her lips parted slightly. You do that for me? Jiho smiled again, calm, unshaken. If it helps you stay, yes, I want to. Neo reached for her teacup, but paused halfway, her hand trembling just slightly. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, he said, his voice quiet. But I see potential in you. I don't need proof. I can already feel it. She met his eyes then, fully, deeply, and in that silent gaze, something passed between them. Gratitude, yes, but also trust, the kind that doesn't shout, but rests gently in the spaces between words. After a pause, Neo tilted her head. And you? What do you do exactly? Jiho's smile curled at the corner. I run a tech company worldwide. We specialize in AI-assisted design platforms, architecture, landscape simulation, things like that. Neo raised her eyebrows in surprise. So, design. He nodded. Yes. Turns out, we might have more in common than we thought. She laughed lightly, shaking her head. Life's strange. Sometimes, Jiho said, it's perfectly timed. Later, as Neo rose to leave, Jiho instinctively walked around the table and pulled her chair back for her. She turned at the doorway. He was still standing near the table, arms by his side, but his eyes lingered on her with something unspoken. Not hunger, not possession. Something softer. Longing. She offered a small wave and disappeared down the hall, the folds of her dress swaying with her quiet steps. Jiho remained still for a while, the scent of breakfast still in the air, the room glowing with early light. He leaned back in his chair and exhaled. Slow, steady, full. His heart was calm now. But deep inside, something had shifted. He wanted to protect her. Then back in the kitchen, one of the maids took out her phone to call Jiho's ex-girlfriend to tell her about the black girl Jiho brought home.